So last podcast or the first podcast episode, I mentioned something about how I have colitis and how that ties into back pain. So what I meant by that is there's something called referred pain. So, when you have a heart attack, you could experience chest pain. It's not actually your heart that you're feeling, or you could feel left arm pain or numbness or tingling or something like that. And what that is and I actually learned something new when I was researching this. So I used to think that our organs didn't have any pain receptors, but they do. They have pain receptors. It's just not as much as like your skin or your joints, your muscles, and all that stuff. So it's not very sensitive. And because of that, it can be difficult for your nervous system to paint a picture of pain. It's not very precise. And so what ends up happening is that your heart is on the same neural pathway pain wise as your arm. And so your heart ends up hijacking that pathway that your arm has taken. So for in the area of ulcerative colitis, you could think of colitis and the lower back as the same thing, because your colon and your digestive system is very, very close to your spine. Sometimes inflammation of your digestive system can lead to back pain. The other aspect of this, which is very important, and I think might give you some insights into why you might be experiencing back pain or knee pain: instability. So you should be mobile. Yes, I know there's movements online right now. It's like everyone's like, oh, it's not just about stability. You have to move as well. And I'm 100% on board with you. But I would say most people have the issue of instability. They're experiencing pain because their nervous system senses that there is an unstable structure. So I'm going to give you a metaphor, and I want you to imagine this. Imagine you have a deflated balloon, small balloon, inside of your bicep. When you contract your bicep, when you flex your elbow, your bicep is free to contract. There's nothing really impeding that contraction. Now, I want you to imagine that you inflate that balloon, and it's in your bicep, and you try to contract your bicep. You'll no longer be able to contract your bicep. Your bicep would be expanded outwards, right? There would be resistance there. It would not be able to do its job. Now, I want you to take that same metaphor down to your digestive system, and in my case, my colon. So imagine that your digestive system is a balloon. It's a deflated balloon. When it's deflated, your core is properly able to contract and cinch your transverse abdominis, your internal and external obliques. All these different muscles are able to turn on at will when they want to and kind of cinch your spine, almost like a belt of pressure around your spine to make sure that it's nice and stable. Now, going back to the bicep, same thing. Let's envision that balloon that's in your core is now inflated, and that represents inflammation. Let's say someone has gut dysbiosis or ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, any number of these different conditions that are inflammatory. Now that balloon is inflated, and the muscles of the core, muscles of the trunk, they can no longer contract because there's space being taken up there. And because of that, when those muscles can't do their job, the spine is now unstable. And what does an unstable spine do? It sends a pain signal. So a pain signal isn't always like you have damage to your spine. And in fact, when they look at like x-rays of people that have pain versus people that don't have pain, oftentimes you'll see that people that have pain have completely normal looking spines, and people that don't have pain have completely jacked up looking spines. That happens very often. And so like it's important to not just think, oh, I have pain, there's something wrong. What I would do is start to journal. And I've talked to my clients, and I talk about this a lot on Instagram and everything. Journaling is very important, especially for pain, but also for conditions like colitis. So like if I have back pain, I want to take note of what I ate, how was my sleep, a bunch of different circumstances I want to take note of, because if I eat something and then I wake up the next day and I have lower back pain, and trust me, that happens a lot in my case. There are certain foods like pizza. I cannot eat pizza, even though I still will every now and then. I'll risk it for the biscuit. But there are certain foods that I cannot eat because I will wake up with back pain. It's not like I blew my back out doing anything. It's just like I'll wake up and it'll feel like I completely blew my back out from like a super heavy deadlift, even though when I went to bed that night, felt completely fine. And it'll clear up pretty quickly. It'll clear up within, a day or two, and then I'll feel pretty normal. And that's just the inflammation kind of dying down. And I make sure I stay moving during those time periods just to make sure I don't lose movement patterns and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's important to think about that when you have pain, when you have knee pain. Is it a instability thing? Is your knee unstable? But that's what I meant. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because someone like kind of asked, like, what do you mean by back pain and colitis? Like, that's kind of weird. And, so I just wanted to clear that up a little bit.